Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, bringing you another side-by-side comparison between the iPad mini and the Galaxy Note 8. Alright guys, now of course, even though I am the Android guy, I do it on a scale comparison. So we'll see on each category which tablet is better for which category it wins. And then we'll tally them all up at the end and see which one is the best one overall. Alright, let's take a look. Now for our first category, we're going to go over the look and feel of each device. Both devices are different, although very slim designs on both. They kind of look and feel definitely different. So with the iPad, you have this really nice texture backing. The feel is really good. On the front hand side, you have their simple traditional kind of look and feel for it, except very thin bezel on the side and then very thick bezel on the bottom half. So it makes you kind of choose to hold the tablet like this most of the time, because like this it just doesn't feel as nice, I would say. Although they say, you know, you have thumb resistance right here. If you just use a little bit of the side, you definitely will be able to react to it. So that is for the iPad. And on the Note 8, you have a very plastic feel, and it feels a little bit more plasticky or plastic like hyperglaze than say the S3, the Note 2, and especially than the S4. So it feels a bit slippery a lot. This can be fixed with a case, but just doesn't feel as nice holding it like this. However, one thing I do like about the Note 8, it's very easy to hold any which way because of the bezel. You basically have bezel, it's about the same all around. Now, a lot of people might not like to look at it as much, but it's definitely easier to hold one-handed, I would say, because of this. Also because the aspect ratio, it just kind of pans out a little bit better for that reason as well, too. For overall look and feel though, it's going to go to the iPad mini, just because overall the feel of it without a case feels a little bit better texture wise comparing to the Note 8. Now let's move on to the next category. Now for the next category, we're going to go over web browsing. Now to be fair, neither is amazing when it comes to screen resolution. So if we zoom in on here, neither displays that great of a text. The Note does have the better resolution, which is why you get to fit more in the screen. So when zoomed out all the way on both devices, you definitely get more in your screen than this one. However, neither text is really clear from a distance, as we do see in other high-end phones nowadays. However, both seem very responsive. Pinch to zoom, as well as double tapping. So very responsive overall on on web browsing. The only thing that is nice, of course, about the Note is you do have the S Pen, which allows you to activate over drop-down menus that you could not otherwise do without a pen. So it just feels really nice for that purpose, that you can actually activate any kind of drop-down menu just like a mouse would. So you get really a full desktop experience. This plus the fact that you can always install Adobe Flash on Android tablets still, although you cannot get it from the Google Play Store. You can still install it, and I do have videos on that. It gives the slight edge to the Note 8 just for being able to go a little bit above and beyond what the iPad mini can. Now when it comes to speakers, both tablets don't have the speakers positioned in the ideal setting for music. The iPad has them right here at the bottom, and so does the Note 8. Both these speakers would be better if they were towards the front, as typically Samsung does for their 10-inch tablets, but for some reason they did not do with their 8-inch tablet. Unfortunately, they made it like the 7-inch, which means they're at the bottom, and Apple traditionally does them towards the bottom now with their iPhone 5 and with this iPad mini. So, but in terms of speaker quality, let's have a listen and then we'll review. Make sure this one's all the way up. Alright, so hopefully this came through the mic okay. I know it always doesn't come through what we hear here at the studio to what ends up coming out, but definitely at the studio. Overall, when we were playing different type of genres, different type of songs, the Note 8 would seem a lot louder in comparison to the iPad mini, but a lot of the times too, it would seem clear depending on the song. Rock always sounds a little better because it has a little bit less bass. With rap, it's kind of a toss-up sometimes. Some songs sounded clear on the iPad mini sometimes, and some of them sounded clear on the Note 8 sometimes. It was kind of back and forth. Overall, the Note 8 is always louder and sometimes clear, so overall it will go to the Note 8. Alright guys, when it comes to video playing, I think you guys can see a clear distinction already, but let's go a little bit more in depth.
Graduation party, sweetie. What are you doing? I'm taking a picture of these ribs. The new GS4. Have a smell. I smell some ribs. Don't be a woman. So some smartphones are smarter than other smartphones. Exactly. What are we doing with these phones? Call the phone with my phone. Oh, you gotta be kidding.
So yeah. Oh, and by the way, just because I always get accused of this, I just wanted to make it clear, the iPad is at full brightness. So geez, everyone always like, oh, turn the iPad up on brightness. That's at full brightness, okay? It's not my fault that this is a lot brighter. So, as we saw as we saw the depth of the video, when it comes to clarity, as well as obviously color reproduction, the Samsung Galaxy Note 8 is just going to have a far better color in comparison to the iPad mini, and that's just because the resolution on this tablet is better. 1280 by 800 I want to say, and versus 1024 by 624 if I remember correctly. But either way, basically this is 720p and this is a little bit under 720p. So the clarity is going to go to this one, definitely on the Note 8, and obviously the color reproduction just looks a lot better when watching movies. Now when it comes to the cameras on these devices, they both have 5 megapixels and about the same video quality. However, in terms of interface and results, they're a little bit different. So first let's go over just the layouts of the cameras. When it comes to the iPad, it has a very simple and minimalistic layout. You have the photo taking capabilities, switch to video, front face camera, and options being grid or no grid. So very simplistic. On the Note 8, you have, of course, same touch to focus feature. However, you also have a couple of different shooting modes, namely panorama, smile shot, and little cartoon filter. You also have little other filters built into it, such as black and white, sepia, and negative. And then you can also do things such as take a photo using your voice with voice commands. Those are about it, though. That's just some of the stuff. Now you can change things like resolution, white balance, and all that kind of stuff if you choose, but most people won't usually go over all of those things. You also do have some scene modes to make it better for such things as text, backlighting, and things like that, whereas the iPad will do those more automatic, but it is nicer when your camera actually has an idea of what you're using it for. It just gets better results typically. All right, now let's take a look at both of the photos taken from these. So, and that is me over there. And okay, so first, when it comes to clarity, one thing I want to point out right away is with the Note, it's a little bit truer to form. You know, it's kind of hard with our light above here in the studio, but basically it doesn't get as faded into the white as the iPad mini does right here on the side. Also, when we zoom into the text, it's, well, let's not zoom in that far, iPad. Let's just zoom in about the same. Okay. So when we zoom into the text here, we can see that the Google is just a little bit sharper and definitely truer to the color form as well, as this is not a white, it's kind of like an off color, especially because I haven't cleaned it in a little bit. So yeah. Now when it comes to color reproduction, we get a bit of a difference. So, just actually to show you guys, this is it, and this is what we're getting here. So, when it comes to color reproduction, between the three, the yellow is actually not spot on either one. The green and the red comes out closer to here, and the blue is kind of in between. But the yellow is kind of oversaturated on both of these two devices. Again, just a little bit more detail with the Note 8. You have kind of like a little bit of a shadow. You can see at the top right there. Just a little bit more detailed in terms of how it compares to the iPad mini overall. So here, and then here, and then there. So in terms of color reproduction, we just get a little bit more accuracy with the Note 8. Now when it comes to gaming, overall we have found the Note 8 just does a bit better at gaming, just because the iPad mini has the original processor from back in the original iPad 1, which was once upon a time pretty good, but especially with the quad-core processing built into this one as opposed to the dual-core processing on the iPad mini, gaming is just a lot easier and plays more fluidly on the Note 8 in comparison to the iPad mini. Now obviously with an iPad mini 2 this could change with them doing like the iPad 4's graphics card, but until then the Note 8 definitely does better when it comes to gaming. Battery life. Battery life overall is going to go to the Note 8. It just lasts when on standby time and not using it. It'll outlast the iPad mini by a bit more. You just don't have to charge it as often. For instance, in this filming actually we had to charge the iPad mini before we did it. The Note 8 has been on its 2.5 day. now without a charge and still holding up pretty well. Overall, just in usage too, the Note 8 just does a bit better job at being able to maintain the battery as opposed to the iPad mini does. Now both will get you through a full day on average, so you don't have to worry about one-day usage, but past a day or really heavy users, if you're gaming a lot or doing intense things such as Photoshop editing or something like that, you will see it diminish quickly, although the Note 8 will do a little bit better in that sense. And extras. Extras, you can kind of guess who's going to get it. It's definitely one of all iOS's Achilles heels. You don't really have extras to go with the device. The Note 8, on the other hand, of course, has the S Pen, which adds a lot of function to the device in terms of not only navigating, but being able to do certain things when it comes to note-taking, or even such as things as operating split screen very easily. So you have that ability. You do have a micro SD card slot to add more storage to the built-in storage, as well as you have an IR blaster, which allows you to control via watch on any TV, cable box, DVD player, Blu-ray player, and so on. So really, for a more complete tablet, you get a lot more bang for your buck on the Note 8 as opposed to the iPad mini. Not to mention that you do get a $25 Google Play gift card as it currently stands with the Note 8. Now, although I did just mention a $25 gift card for the Note 8, you have to still keep in mind price point, which price point easily goes to the iPad mini. The iPad mini is $329 for the 16 gigabyte version of the device, whereas the Note 8 is $399 price point. Although it does come with a $25 gift card, that is still $399, so making it definitely not as affordable as the iPad mini. You're talking $70 more, and for that $70, what do you get? Well, you get a built-in app of Office, which is normally $30 on the iPad mini. You do have obviously a quad-core processor compared to a dual-core. You have split screen, you have a pen, and all that fun stuff, but is that really for you? Well, it depends on you. Especially if you're in an Android ecosystem already, it's much more convenient. However, if you're in an iOS ecosystem, you do have to second guess if you're going to spend that $70 extra to get this device. All right, let's start to tally them up. When it comes to look and feel, the iPad mini is going to take it with its slimmer design and nice touch on the back. Now, when it comes to web browsing, the Note 8 will take it simply for the S Pen, making navigation so much easier in web browsing. Both are very fluid, but for the S Pen, adding a mouse function like a desktop experience, and the fact that you can still get Adobe Flash for the Note 8 whenever you want, definitely steps it up with web browsing. When it comes to music, overall the Note 8 just gives a bit of a better experience, although at times the iPad mini can be clear, and at other times the Note 8 can be clear. Its overall loudness of the Note 8 is what clinches the deal. For movies are definitely easily going to go to the Note 8. Not only is your aspect ratio better, so you get more of a full screen experience, but you have a much clearer screen and richer color. So overall, your Note 8 is going to be the one to go if you want to watch movies on the go. Now when it comes to camera, the Note 8 is just a bit better in terms of clarity and slightly better when it comes to color reproduction. Not to mention that you have a bit more things you can do with the camera built in and more settings you have available to you, whereas the iPad mini doesn't have even things like panorama is missing out. In terms of gaming, the Note 8 just has a better graphics card and processor, so it's going to outdo the iPad mini. Overall, you get a better gaming experience with the Note 8, and don't forget you can always attach a PS3 controller for gaming capabilities. For battery life is definitely going to go slightly to the Note 8, not a huge difference. I would say if I had to put a number behind it, I would probably say about 2 more hours in comparison. maybe even an hour sometimes. It really depends on how you use both devices, but definitely in terms of when you don't use the devices, your Note 8 will maintain battery life better than the iPad mini. In terms of extras, of course, this is going to go to the Note 8. It has an S Pen, it has a micro SD, it has an IR blaster to control your TV. Yep, extras all go to the Note 8. It just offers more bang for your buck. Now, in terms of price, speaking of bang for your buck, well, the Note 8 costs more of a buck. So you're talking about a $70 price difference, so of course the iPad mini just has a better price for the same storage. So let's tally them all up and see. So it's clear to see that the Note 8 is overall a better tablet compared to the iPad mini, but that better tablet does cost you $7 more. Is that in it for you? Well, that's going to be your choice. It obviously does have a lot of extras and a lot more bells and whistles. If you're just looking for a simple tablet, the iPad mini might be it for you. But if you're looking for the best of the best right now, then the Galaxy Note 8 will be the winner. Alright guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.